Hello.
Hello.
The recording is in progress.
Indeed. The same is pretty much more interesting than the other one I just left.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
There's not many A-ing.
Not many
That
asks.
makes sense.
Or not many answers.
No, there's just the M. I think they think the M stands for monologue. That's all that seems to be happening. So yeah.
Anonymous monologues, anonymous.
Pretty much something like that.
Oh, interesting. That's fun.
Or anonymous monologues always, or something. But yes.
Oh, you caught me monologuing. You caught me monologuing.
Yeah.
Hello, hello. Hey, Kieran. Hey, Tim.
Hello. Yeah.
So we're not going to have Georgi and Danielle this morning, today.
At this point.
Yes.
Yeah, Birdrock pinged me too. So I guess I will facilitate today. See how many more people we get. And go from there. Here, we'll give it another couple minutes. If you have thoughts, please feel free to throw them on the doc. If you don't have access to the doc, I put the link in chat.
Please ensure your own access to the doc before helping others.
That's right.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
We're just waiting on people to gather a little bit. Got things to talk about, throw them on the doc. Here, I'll give it until 35 before we get started.
Anyone else we have things for?
Julian likes to show up sometimes. Depends. I don't know. There's Eric. Hello.
I have 2 Zooms open.
Oh.
I don't know how you managed to do that. No, I don't know. I won't close any of the 2 because it's not gonna be kicked out if I close the wrong one.
It's fair. Alrighty, well, we'll get started. I'll do my best impersonation of Bird Rock. Welcome to the CF on Kubernetes Working Group Forum. Let me paste the doc in chat again. There you go. I'll be your facilitator today. Let's kick it off with the first topic. That would be, I think, Dave and Kieran.
Yeah, so we were just taking a look at the Helm chart. There's a chore in the backlog to see what learnings we can take from Helm Create. And one of the things that we saw was that it templates out a horizontal pod autoscaler. And we were musing about whether or not that would be nice to actually have in our chart.
What is it? It's like a standard Kubernetes thing to get our pods to autoscale.
Yeah.
To get deployments to autoscale, I guess. Okay, interesting.
You give it
So,
a
as a
CPU
very
and memory threshold, and it'll spawn more when it hits that or drop back, I think.
It might be nice to have for the API deployment.
Yeah, I wonder how much we want this to be configurable by users.
Yeah, it does put some entries into the values file to control that in terms of being able to set the limits and that kind of thing.
And enable and disable it, I suppose.
Right, yes, you can turn it on and off completely.
That looks like a good idea. It's the only pod that we might want to scale because the controllers can't be scaled, right?
Yeah.
That means they can, but just for availability.
Yeah.
Only one runs at any time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the controllers could technically be scaled. You can scale the webhooks by scaling them horizontally, but I don't think like the metrics like actually impact the webhooks correctly. So like a controller might have a ton of memory, but that's because it's doing controller things and isn't reflective of the webhook needing scaled.
Mm-hmm.
And also we're going to merge them all into one container, right?
Right.
That's going to be tricky to,
yeah,
if we want to scale that. But the whole point of merging them is that we believe we don't need to scale them. Other people might want to have multiple instances for resiliency.
yeah, that's not something they'd want this thing messing with, most likely.
Yeah, and definitely not the horizontal thing. But for the API, yeah, we could enable it with some values to control it and some good defaults. Sounds like a good idea. Why not?
Okay. We'll put some notes in this chore and
It's mostly just a convenience thing though, right? Because like nothing's stopping someone from making this on their own.
correct. Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah, right, because I guess the deployment name, all you need is the deployment name, which is fixed. So they could do it themselves, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem. Like the convenience thing sounds nice as long as you can disable it.
Yeah, just talking about scaling webhooks, I see K8s separate their controller and their webhook deployments, so you could scale them. So you could scale the webhooks, I guess. Should we be doing that? But then if we do that, we're going to have two things that are going to be blowing up in memory potentially.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just like a theoretical thing. I don't think we have any, like, it might be nice to have two controller instances just for HA, but I haven't seen anything that implicates the webhooks as being like a performance problem. I think it's more of just if you only have one and it goes down, then that's a problem. But
yeah, I guess it depends on how much, because they are kind of a bottleneck for the system, right? Like everything goes through them potentially. So like if they slow down, it is kind of a problem because it's going to slow down everything. But also, if I don't know, if our webhooks don't do much, there's no problem.
We need some scale performance testing before we can sensibly say anything about it.
Yeah,
We don't have it.
no, we don't.
But for the sake of this, with the way they are now, they're probably not something that should be managed by an HPA.
Mhm.
So it sounds like generally we're thinking it's a good idea to do it for the APIs. It sounds like we're gonna make a chore for that. But as far as the controllers, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
For controllers, it's more an HA thing, and for webhooks, it might be necessary, but maybe it's something that we think like I guess it's part of all those things that are more for like, okay, we want to actually get this ready to be run in production, and so we want to take care of all those things that are like very production-y. While at the moment we are more caring about other stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
I think if we do think that the webhooks could benefit from it, then splitting them out into a separate deployment maybe does make sense at that point. But we, like Kieran said, we're going to do a lot more scale testing before we get to that point.
At the moment, go on.
Oh, I was just gonna say the webhooks don't really do, like, if the webhooks are a bottleneck because of like CPU or anything, I think that's a problem with the webhooks themselves. Like, I think they only would be scaled for HA reasons right now. Because they're just doing like web requests and like superficial validations. Like, there shouldn't be anything like too intensive on them.
Yeah, it's more just the fact that if that pod is down because it's being rolled, then you can't create or update resources.
Yeah, so there might be an argument that we should have the controllers have 2 instances by default for a more production like, because they're all using the lease system, I believe. So so I think it's safe.
That's why we scaled the API to 2, right?
Yeah.
I was thinking that like the image merging work, like at the moment our webhooks are inside the controller's image, aren't they? Or they're spread around.
They're in all the controller components generally.
They're all in the controller's component.
In each of the controllers, so everything apart from API is a controller, isn't it? And most of them
but we have
webhooks.
like this. We have the controllers component, which has like all the controllers except the builder, runner, and task runner. But do the builder, runner, and task runner come with webhooks? Yeah.
Well, some do.
What I was thinking is like splitting out the webhooks into their own images is still orthogonal to merging the images that we have right now. Like, it's not like if we do the image merging and then tomorrow we decide, okay, let's actually split out the webhooks, provided that makes sense. That's not undoing what we've done before, because like if we are splitting out different things that were together already. Okay.
Yeah. And there might be valid reasons. Like, K8s doesn't use controller runtime or any of the QBuilder stuff. But the reason they're with the controllers is because QBuilder gives you helpers for making them and has a lot of nice libraries and stuff, which doesn't prevent you from splitting it out. But like, I'm not sure if this is the case for sure, but if they somehow are using the same informer cache as the controllers, that's also a benefit to keep them together.
Yeah, I mean, we can think. I'm happy with the fact that we can postpone that decision to when we are more informed about whether it's needed or not. Because I was starting to think, okay, the merging is coming on as the next thing we're gonna work on. So do I have to think again about that and think about the boundaries again? But it looks like no, we can go on with the merge, and splitting out webhooks might be a thing of the future, which is kind of orthogonal. So
Yeah,
we don't have to worry now.
All right. Sounds like we may have wind down. Anyone notes I took, does that sound reasonable to everybody? Is there anything in particular anybody wants me to add?
I think we can add a note for what Giuseppe just said.
Perfect. Do you mind?
Yeah, like or Giuseppe can
Or Giuseppe, yeah, if you
can
wouldn't
write
mind
us.
adding a note to that.
Yeah.
Good call.
So okay. Maybe I'll add a link as well if I find. Yeah, there you go.
Should we move on? Well,
Yep, sounds good. Let's move on to the next one.
all right. This was just, we were discussing, I think, at stand up this week, the possibility of having basically unit tests for the output of the Helm chart with different configurations. There's a fair amount of logic in there. It felt like it might be good to have tests for that. I don't think there's anything too controversial there.
Yeah, so the idea is to basically just call Helm template and then assert on the YAML.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, why
We
not?
talk about the tools. There's some project that uses Carifi I've seen. They do similar sort of testing using Go. But then you got things like bat tests as well. If you just want to do it in Bash.
Can you help me understand what we're catching with that? I'm just trying to think of like.
There's a whole load of conditionals in the template. So if you specify a certain value, then you get certain bits. I think a new case we introduced was if you specify container registry secret and whatever the new thing's called, EKS, ECR roll on.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you specify both of those at the same time, that should be an error.
Okay.
At the moment, you get a required error if you don't specify either of them. But yeah, I mean, it can make them a bit more robust by making sure we put in all those, making it fail properly for things like that. Making sure required things are required.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like the conditional logic is getting more and more complex in there because like we have mutually exclusive properties and stuff like that. And so it's like, okay, this property can only be specified if this is not specified. This can be specified only if this or this is already is specified too, and stuff like that. So you want to test out the combos so that you. So that's what I would focus on. So not assert on the full YAML, but more like, okay, if these values are in, then I know for a fact that this X path or whatever is not JSON path or whatever is not there, right? And this is, etc., etc. In terms of tools, honestly, Ginkgo has that gexec stuff that is pretty good at running commands and at capturing output. Plus, it has this JSON matches, so maybe that's what we should do. If we can convert the YAML into JSON somehow, you can tell Kubernetes. Maybe you can tell Helm to spit JSON. No, I don't know.
It has YAML matches as well, but the key
It's got
bit is
YAML matches.
Yeah. So the way
is
it's
that a
done,
YAML path? Like,
can you
we
do
want
YAML path in
to.
there? You need to be able to select certain blocks. So here's my deployment with this name, and then drill down from there because you're going to get lots and lots of YAML documents all joined together. So
yeah, but I would like to be able to say, if I search for this like a grep, if I search for this path, so if there's a deployment with this name, fine, otherwise fail, something like that.
I don't think it works within multiple documents though, does it? Like if you concatenated it as JSON, it wouldn't be valid JSON. It would just be a series of JSON documents. So you'd have to zoom in on one first, and then you can start doing that trick.
Well, I guess you could just split by the divisor and do an any kind of assertion that says, okay, there's at least one document that matches this path. Like one off, what is it called? I don't know. But I feel like the testing toolkit that we have on Go is the way to go, because it's just much more powerful than. On the other hand, you could use, if you use like more of a bash based thing, I guess you can use YQ, which is pretty powerful for the YAML manipulation, but not as good for the rest, for assertions. I don't know.
You can also use YQ inside of Go, it seems. And then,
Oh yeah, you can gexec YQ, I guess, if you want to. Oh, you can just pipe. It's probably going to work. No, pipes, no, you can't. You can wire them up somehow. I don't know. We can
Sorry, I was not really paying attention, but I'm just bringing this meeting into focus. There is a YQ lib you can use. We use it in some of our test code for the configuration.
in Go. Oh.
Yeah.
well, YQ is written in Go if you get the right one, isn't it?
Yeah,
So you can just import YQ as a library.
YQ has underlying interfaces you can use to formulate a query.
Oh, that's neat.
I can send you. I think it's.
Is it Mike Farah's YQ?
Yeah, and there's examples in our TAS adapter config testing.
Package YQ lib.
Neat. Yeah, that could be the way.
Yeah, let me see if I can. I think I wrote a little helper function that allows you to just post a YQ query. I'll put a link to it in the chat.
Yeah, because that's pretty much what we need. It's like, okay, again, we'd have to deal with the concatenating documents thing, but I think that's feasible. We can make like a meta matcher that matches as long as one of the documents matches. Oh yeah, even better.
Yeah, it's just a stream, so should work. So in our test, we're already using it to like make assertions about the total calculated configuration for TAS adapters.
Nice. That's perfect. Because the YQ docs only talk about the binary. So there might be a risk that it's not actually supposed to be used as a library.
Yeah, I think that's a real risk. I rationalized that because we were only using it in testing, but it also looks pretty stable.
Yeah, that's what matters. That like they don't keep breaking it. Because I think we used to have a thing in Garden that used the concourse CLI fly as a library to do to search for flakes and stuff, and it broke every single time because the internal interfaces in fly kept changing, and it broke every single time. We had to like fix the compilation error, fix. So if we get into that state, then we'll have to reconsider, I guess. Until then, yeah, we can take that risk because it's just tests.
Aside from implementation details, it sounds like we're all in agreement that we should do some testing for the Helm generation. So
yeah, at least for those like complex conditionals, I feel like it will give us a lot more confidence because now it's like we're writing all this complex logic and we're like, oh yeah, it's gonna work. You test it manually, but like it can give you so much more peace of mind if you just test it.
Yeah, we ended up doing it for a lot of our Bosch releases for whenever we added a condition to add a Bosch template test for it, and it was helpful.
Yeah, I feel like Helm should have some facility. Or there should be like a project that allows people to do this more easily.
nice. Anything else you want to capture on this one? Take that as a no. Let's move on to the last one, Giuseppe 0.5.
Yeah, so we're waiting on this last story to be finished, which is the one about the app specific container repositories, and it's been dragging along for a bit. So I couldn't get them to give me too much of an update. The pair who's working on it, but apparently they managed to make it work by the end of the day, although they still have some doubts about something. I don't know. So yeah, the hope is to be done with that maybe tomorrow and then ship 0.5. The docs are already there. There might be changes to the docs maybe needed because they're introducing some Helm value to specify the AKS specific, ECR specific stuff. And then once that's done, I will do the usual thing of like triggering CI to generate the tarball, try to install manually following the instructions. I guess I should try on both Google and Amazon really. And then if it's done and it works, then I'll hit the button and publish the release.
Sounds good. Any discussion on that, or are we just overall like, okay, cool, works? All right. There's nothing else. We've got more time if we want to use it. Any other topics anybody wants to talk about? I'll go with a no. We'll end this one early then. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. I'll catch some of you later. And see you later.
So,
Right.